Hey guys, welcome to another video from Just Two Dudes. My name's Louie.
My name's Seth.
I'm the dad.
And I'm the son.
Alright, big win for the Huskers on Saturday. Finally got a win against the top 10 team.
Yep.
Not so sure that was a top 10 team we played, but maybe we just played that well to make them look that bad. Kind of like they did to Oklahoma the week before.
Who was number one in the country at the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess they're a top 10 team. I mean, coming into the game, they were playing well enough to deserve that. Star of the day, if you watch the game, you know Roy Halou. I'm going to keep calling him Halou. I've been doing that for 4 years. I can't stop now.
Fair enough, I guess.
Are you up?
Yes, I'm up.
All right. Roy Halou with over 300 yards and 3 long touchdown runs. Really unbelievable the way he set the tone. Yeah, I realized there were some holes there, but
the fact that Roy exploded through the holes, straight up the sideline and up the middle once, and the fact that he's just running by everybody.
Yeah.
Nobody had a shot at catching him. There's just something about Roy. Roy was a monster from the get-go, and whatever it was, I don't know if it's I'm a senior, I want to go to the Big 12 championship again. I don't know if he played that hard because of everything on the line, but if he did, even better.
Right.
But that was a monster game that Roy just had.
Roy's
for
playing
us.
with gears now.
Yeah.
We always used to, Husker fans, when you used to see Roy Halou cut up to the sideline when he finally hit the corner and he'd go, he'd get about 15, 20 yards downfield and everybody would be caught up to him and he'd have to start cutting it back in to fight for a little extra yards. Right. Whether that was blocking, whether that was his speed, but boy, when he hits that corner now, he just seems to be gone.
He's gone. I mean, he's had so many runs this year where it's up the sidelines and no one's catching him. Where last year, he's not doing that. It could be the fact that Brandon Kinney and Mike McNeil and Niles Paul are being monsters at wide receiver right now with their blocking downfield. They're opening so many holes for everybody. But I think the biggest reason why you're seeing Roy run away from people is he's healthy and he's fresh, and we're not putting the load on his shoulders this year as far as the offense goes. And I think that also has a lot to do with it.
Oh, absolutely. The health definitely does. We got off to a quick start again.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew in the back of my head, it seems like we're scoring a lot this year on our first possession. Right. And I think that's now only 1 or 2 games this year that we haven't scored on our opening possession.
Yeah.
And that really helps.
It does.
Man, that helps.
Especially when it's a big game like that. We made them go 3 and out, and then first play of the game for us, boom, 7-0. That was huge.
We had a bunch of hits on our Missouri preview video where I beat the crap out of the Blaine Gabbert scarecrow, and Seth kind of watched. But we said the very first thing I talked about in the preview video was Blaine Gabbert, and you have to smack him around.
Yeah.
And I tell you, I was pleasantly surprised. We've been calling out the D-line all year, but we were a little hesitant because we didn't necessarily think that the D-line played bad, although at times I think we called certain guys out for getting blown up. The Texas game where Crick was 5, 6, 7 yards. He was getting pushed back half the game. That really irritated me. But we could kind of tell that the D-line was being used in a non-aggressive manner.
Yeah, more
take everybody out, let the linebackers make the plays. And last week is what I wanted to see all year. Send them up the field.
Yeah, which Bo has in his defense. He has go calls and read calls.
Okay.
And the read calls are more of read the play, stay in your gap for the run, open lanes for the linebackers, contain the edge, all that sort of stuff. Kind of sacrificial. Don't try to do too much. Just be in your gap. Well, then he has go calls where all of the down linemen go to get the quarterback, and there's no contain. There's no gap. There's no nothing. It's get to the quarterback. And we saw a lot of go calls Saturday, and the defense really executed it. They had pressure on Gabbert all day. We had 6 sacks
from the beginning,
yeah,
which is always important.
The very
from
first
the
time,
beginning.
the very first time Gabbert went to drop back, he had to scramble, and someone was right there, and he got a 1-yard gain. But the fact that we threw him off of his rhythm that early on from the very first play, and then we continued it all game, even when they were starting to mount a little bit of a comeback. That was huge.
Well, and another thing that we read about this week is and we actually heard about it. I'm not sure if we heard about it in the press conference after the game, but Carl was saying
might have touched on it.
Carl was saying that the game plan was developed in spring with Cameron Meredith playing like a stand-up type of linebacker where they were just going to move him all over the place.
Yeah.
You know, they developed this game plan back in the spring for this particular game.
Yes. And it worked.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. Guys, I've said it before, I'm not that great with the X's and O's of football, but I kind of, I'm a little confused at times to where if this worked so well against Missouri, why didn't we do some of that against Oklahoma State?
Right.
I know maybe the biggest difference would be Kendall Hunter.
Yeah, and I think,
but look what he did to us anyway.
Right, but what I'm saying is I think that when a team has that much balance as Oklahoma State did, you do have to respect that. Kendall Hunter is a great back, and you do have to respect the fact that they can run the ball. Missouri, you don't have to respect the fact they can run the ball, and I think that was the big reason why they just let it all go. That has a big part to do with it, I think.
Another thing that, this was kind of like a throwback game. I know Roy had huge gashing runs, but there was really no need to pass the ball except for your shot up top to your tight end.
Right.
This was kind of like an old school game where we'd option them to death. We'd force them to stuff the box with 8-9 guys and then go over the top on them.
And Kyler Reed, still, there's nobody that we've played that has a guy that can match up with him.
Right.
Oklahoma State tried a corner. He ran right by one of their best cover corners. And again, Missouri, I believe, tried a safety on him. Right by him. He's unbelievable in the play action game. No one can match up with his size and his speed. And Kyler Reed is playing outstanding right now in the play action game.
Just catch the ball.
Yeah, that's pretty much all he needs to do. Just run and catch.
We got about 5 or 6 things left we're going to talk about. We're kind of going to speed through the next 3 or 4 because we want to leave about 5 minutes to talk about Courtney Osborne and Gary Pinkel. There was something else though, sorry. One thing I noticed, and it was a little more obvious because it was so easy to see, and they even broke it down on replays. Earlier this year...
That's what you need.
Well, yeah, sometimes. I mean, I like to watch the O-line, don't get me wrong.
You just can't.
Yeah, the O-line, I probably would have saw something like that because I like to watch those guys. But Mike Caputo and Ricky Henry, I was calling those guys out earlier in the year, not necessarily for their individual play, but a center and a guard. Yeah. Hopefully, on every offensive line, your center will have one of the 2 guards that, boy, he just really clicks with.
Yeah.
And those 2 are hitting on pretty much all cylinders right now. And I know Missouri isn't a traditional defensive power, and once again we do it against a team that isn't Texas, that isn't Oklahoma. But nevertheless, those 2 guys really, they took care of business the other day.
On a couple of Roy's runs, they both pulled out to the edge, both sealed their guy. Ricky Henry's continuing to play at a first team all conference level. Ricky Henry's playing outstanding football still.
All right. Ciante Evans, Courtney Osborne, Austin Cassidy, and even Kevin Thompson, a walk-on from Elkhorn. All of these guys got called on for massive minutes. Osborne and Cassidy in a starting role, which I absolutely love. You know, because Carl Pelini was saying the other day that, you know, sometimes he gets complacent in the guys he uses, and if we're gonna preach this competition thing, we better promote when people are competing.
Reward the effort.
And obviously those guys did. And Deontay Evans came in for
Denard after he suffered a concussion.
Yeah.
And they all played outstanding. They all played massive minutes, played outstanding.
Their number got called and they came in.
Deontay Evans, for a true freshman, he played unbelievable. He made a goal line stand on Blaine Gabbert, who outweighs him by like 50 pounds. Made a goal line stand there. Didn't allow any big pass plays. Even dropped a pick that was in the end zone. He covered the receivers outstanding. He was like glue, and that's very impressive to see a true freshman step into a game in that situation and have that type of game.
I thought we were gonna speed through those.
Well,
good lord!
I wanted to talk about Deontay.
Oh my gosh, you got feelings for him or what?
No.
All right, Courtney Osborne comes in and he smacks Blaine Gabbert in the head. Guys, I know I'm in the minority here. I get negative comments all the time on my Eric Martin opinion. I don't care if it's a defenseless play or not. Between two human beings, you know that the Eric Martin shot was unnecessary. Yeah, it's football. See, I think there's two schools of opinion. I think you disrespect the game of football when you go out and you sucker shot a guy. And sorry, Eric Martin's shot was a cheap shot. That was low. That was so unnecessary it wasn't even funny. But then there's other people who say, no, Louie, you disrespect the game if you're not trying to knock somebody out. I get that. I just respectfully disagree. The Courtney Osborne hit was 100%. It had no malice. There was no intent.
Yeah.
He wasn't trying to do anything. That was just a good football play with a bad result. Should a penalty have been called? Yes. Quit telling me that Blaine Gabbert turned and ducked at the last second into him. No, Blaine Gabbert went from getting hit on the side of his helmet to the front of his helmet.
He didn't get hit in the front of his helmet.
He got blasted right here.
Courtney Osborne put the face mask kind of right in the chest, and it drove up into the face mask.
Well, there you go. He got hit right here.
But it's not
the
like
face mask is the front of the helmet.
It's not like it was helmet to helmet from the first. Like
no, it
all
was
the, in all the
front,
cheap shots.
It was in the front of his helmet. That's what I said. He got hit in the front of his helmet. Your face mask is part of your helmet.
Right, but that's not where the initial contact was. That's all I'm saying. It wasn't where the initial contact was.
Go!
I'm just letting you know that.
I don't need to know.
Okay.
When a guy's head gets popped back and somebody's helmet hits him, that's where he freaking got hit. Just like all you crybabies are saying, oh, Eric Martin led with his shoulder. Oh, man, come on. I don't care if his shoulder hit first. He led with the crown of his helmet. But the thing that ticks me off about the Courtney Osborne play is, yeah, that was, you know what? We're going to end our video right here because he got babbling about too many other things. And we're going to do about a 5-minute video on the Courtney Osborne hit and Gary Pinkel still crying about it. Okay? All right, guys. We'll be right back.